Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. We are going to start our ongoing meditation session now. So you can keep relax your body, your back straight, neck, head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. Also, your right palm on your left, and gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. Do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, this is our ongoing meditation session. In these meditation sessions, we mainly try to give basic information for yourself to build up a very good, solid, spiritual foundation with your own practice. And at the same time, you have to remember why we need this practice. Because in day-to-day life, we have opportunities to work with our own understanding. If you look very carefully, whatever the knowledge that you have, sometimes it is not enough for us to go beyond this conventional life, because the knowledge or the wisdom we already have in this ordinary life build up out of our very conditional mind. That knowledge not enough for us to get out of this. That knowledge will help us to be with this. Go into the samsara, be in this conditional world, being in this conventional life. That knowledge will help. But there is something especially you need to go beyond this circle, to get out of this. So in ordinary mind will help us to get tangles. And then the way to untangle this, all the tangles, you need a very kind of like a different knowledge or something from outside. Only thing you have to know, by this mind, through this our thoughts patterns, we get into tangles. Because once you know that, then you become very careful regarding yourself. That is very necessary. But mostly when it comes to our ordinary life, we are so careful regarding others or the outside situations or the conditions. While we are focusing to outside and we are concerned regarding the outside things or the peoples or the situations, we neglect ourselves. So then always remember, this practice help us to build up that deeper connection with us. So how we can do this? We do this through developing observation. Observing is a method you find deeper connection with yourself. And when you develop the method of observation, there are certain things come as hindrance. Why it come as hindrance? Because the very nature of this existence or this life, depending on certain qualities of our mind, not from something else beyond our life. It is the very behavior and the very nature of our mind. So what are those qualities? One is intellect. Your intellectual mind came out of this collective nature from childhood to now, through your environment, through the education system, schooling, culture, tradition, religions, believings, develop certain kind of intellectual pattern inside you. So in day-to-day life, we take all the decisions, we develop our logical lifestyle or the logical mind, and we go with this whole argument or the resistance with ideas related to intellectual mind. But if you look very carefully, that intellectual mind related to history. Beyond the history, there is no intellectual mind. That's why we always go with the theories, patterns, validations. So, if you use your intellectual mind, it's good for your conventional life. But you have to remember, it's good for your conventional life to maintain it. Your intellectual mind will never fund for you. It will never support for you. It will never help for you to get out of the pattern of this intellectual thinking. It's a greater challenge. So that's why it's the deeply we have to look into ourselves rather than looking to outside reasons or the situations. You have to look into yourself. Your own intellectual mind will hold you to this, all the up and downs and the circle by circle we go through this in the samsaric pattern. So then is there any way you can experience something without intellectual mind? Of course. that is where you develop your observation. Because when it comes to you observe something, you have to drop your intellectual mind. So then remember, when you develop the tranquility meditation, one of the important things, drop your intellectual mind. So very basic principle you have to remember, without dropping something, you cannot gain something. So without dropping your intellectual mind, you cannot develop your observation. That's a very basic principle. It's very difficult sometimes. Of course, not about even our mind in day-to-day life. Sometimes in this material world, even though we know that it's not belong to us, or even though we know it by the time it's going to disappear, but still we cannot let go. We cannot drop things. How many old things in your house? Maybe your garments, your slippers, shoes, socks, even, maybe towels, toothbrush. It's old, it's already gone, but it's still there. It's all the place. You just cannot throw it. There's something, in our system, there is something that keep connected to that. So then how about deeper inside our own character? How we can let go that? Especially that our mind. It's not easy. But still, that's right. No need to think about the harder part. No need to think about, oh, I have to let go, I have to drop. No, let it be there. But just bring your attention and develop the awareness. Because once you deeply connected to the awareness, naturally the intellectual conditional mind will drop. So then rather than focusing to the difficult part, you have to focus towards the benefits that you're going to gain out of the observation. So that is one thing. And there is another thing, the second one, that is identity. That is very difficult. It's because with this, everything we do with the identity and our self-centered mind, governed with the names and forms related to our own identity. So whatever your bodily, verbally, mentally actions represent your identity. So can you drop that? And we're not used to it. Why? Because from childhood to now, we used to build up our identity. We used to develop, maintain our identity. That is where we build up our character. But when it comes to life, when you build up your identity, what will happen? You find another place in this samsaric journey. So it is your identity will never help you to get out of this. So then you have to remember that your identity always will help you to find another place. So then can you live without identity? Of course. When it comes to observe, in that very moment, if you really connected to that deeply, thoroughly, clearly, or getting to observe something in that very moment, there is no identity. Identity always comes out of thinking. Identity always comes out of replacing names and forms related to something belong to past or the future. In the very present moment, there is no identity. in this very moment, if you really connect it to your physical body, if you really see any sensation or the posture, you don't recognize any identity. From where the identity comes? So where the identity come out of whatever you have done in the past, and when you remind it, or maybe who you want to become. So that's why in the very present moment, when you go with the observing your own inhalation, exhalation, in that very moment, to observe that you no need identity, and when your observation develop and become more sharp, clear, it naturally drop your identity. So then the second thing is, remember, you don't need to drop identity. You cannot do it. Then your mind get paralyzed and your mind will go crazy. Why? Because you are itself your identity. You cannot separate it. So then just let it be. And more focus towards and look into the benefit of the present moment, and more into recognize or be with the sensation of your inhalation, exhalation. You don't need to struggle to drop. So then the second thing, identity. Remember, intellectual mind, don't try to struggle with it. Just let it be there, but give your best to be with your present moment. Observing, following the sensation of your own inhalation, exhalation, without interfering to it, without making any comments, without thinking or without maintaining in your mind. Just allow it to happen naturally. The second one is your identity. Don't try to think, I inhale, I exhale. Just observe and allow it to see that happen it naturally, and just see it. And the third one is the karma. In day-to-day life, in this very conventional life, it's kind of like the foundation for us to have this life. Underneath this all, the karma also hold a big part. In this conventional life, with our bodily, verbally, mentally actions, your karma also representing certain amount of result, outcome, and the energy also. We cannot deny it. We cannot get out of it. And if you think about your future, and if you think about your past, if you depending on that, your karma become more powerful. The karma is not something coming from behind or coming from outside. It is the power of our own bodily, verbally, and mentally action, and repetition of action. And once we do something, what happens? And it start to create certain kind of outcome, which we cannot control. We cannot stop. We cannot deny. We are responsible for that. So that's why even practice meditation, that's why it is your responsibility yourself to develop your own awareness. If you don't do it, by the time it's going to go to something else. If you don't get into the wisdom path, what will happen? The ignorance will grow. Then you cannot tell yourself, oh, it is nothing to do with me. I don't care about it. You and also the others have the responsibility. Just imagine yourself. Why Sometimes your children, your grandchildren, your family members, why you try to, and other children and the poor people, why you try to send them to school? Because sometimes in the society, just imagine if one person become ignorance, it become a greater challenge to entire humanity. So then you cannot neglect anybody. Then you are responsible to provide the necessary facilities and the necessary environment for others to have a very comfortable, very wise environment. Otherwise, because if the ignorance grow, everybody can get into trouble. Don't think it as a freedom. Just imagine the freeway, when you drive on the freeway, there is no any other cars. And maybe you drive so fast and you go zigzag, and then do you think it is a freedom? You're enjoying freedom? And out of that enjoyment, what will happen? The outcome. Knowingly or unknowingly, maybe somebody will hit, maybe somebody will die, maybe it is a greater threat for you also. And the selling drugs. And somebody get into alcohol, and maybe you think, oh, it is not my business. It's nothing to do with me. Oh, let them to have whatever they want. So then, what will happen? One person get into drugs, another person get into drug, and that person will introduce to your children, and maybe in the very next day, they will knock your door and take something out of your house. So see that's why the karmic path is huge than we think. Even yourself, you have, otherwise it grow, ignorance will grow. If you don't spend time on developing wisdom, the greed, hatred, and the delusion will overtake your life. Once it overtake your life, knowingly or unknowingly, it will overtake someone else, next to whoever next to you. And then by the time, what will happen? It may grow around your house or your neighborhood, in the city, and to the country, the world. So then, whatever the outcome, we all going to get, and we all are responsible. So that's why yourself, practicing yourself and get out of the greed, hatred, and the delusion is very necessary yourself. And maybe somebody can say, oh, I don't practice meditation. That's okay. But how we know that person safe, and at the same time that the person himself or herself not develop the greed, hatred, or the delusion? May be very generous, may be very compassionate, but the thing is, how about the ignorance? Because people can be generous and people can be so loving, kind, but still, if they are ignorance, then how they can get out of the misery that happening day and night through our life? So then someone can tell, oh, is no need to practice meditation. Maybe then should have something. Somehow that person need to develop at least reading or listening, somehow that person need to have some kind of method to educate and uplift day by day, day by day. So whoever willing to practice and whoever willing to go in this path, and then most welcome. So that's why we keep doing this. If anybody come to argue, because there are a lot of people nowadays, they think, oh, no need meditation. Though it can happen anytime. We can change ourselves. It is good if that person can do that. That is good for that person. But you have to look into yourself. Whatever the method that you practice or you keep doing, it should allow you to grow, change yourself. Deeply recognize inside your own mind. If it is not happening, remember, that is not the true wisdom. It can be knowledge or it can be some kind of thought pattern. But the very nature of the wisdom, it allows you to see your own mind. And by the time, naturally, in a certain way, you start to change. Not by force. And naturally, you start to grow. You become more better person. And you see it. And the deeper inner clarity going to be with you. And when that things happen, deeply, the fear start to disappear from you. When the wisdom is there, the fear not going to be with you. But when the ignorance is there, always the very next friend is the fear. So then you can analyze yourself. And when it come to karma, if you are not take care of yourself to develop your wisdom, by the time with your bodily, verbally, mentally action, you create a lot of unnecessary reactions which you are responsible by the time. Then more and more you get into the trap rather than you get out of it. So then how you can perform or how you can be in the place where the karma cannot hold you. That is your present moment. When you come to your awareness, recognition in this very moment, right now, right here, within yourself, if you tune to, there's no that karma can effect for you. So then how the karma can come? How the karma play the role? When you depending on your past and when you depending on your future, then the karma going to play a big part of it. But moment of recognition, you no need any help out of the karma. That is the power of your awareness. So then three things, remember, when you empower that your present moment, the recognition, direct perception, awareness, your tranquility state, you get out of from three things. Those are kind of like the main pillars in your conventional life. Those are, one is your intellectual mind. Those are, it's kind of like a water for our ordinary life. And your identity is like the breathing for our this conditional body. And the karma, it's like the food for our this conditional life. Those are like main pillars, foundations. That's why we into this world. That's why we into samsara. That's why we into actions, reactions, result. That's where all the emotions, that is where all the feelings play the role. So then, in the present moment, you neutralize this all, not by pushing it, not by go towards and resisting it, not by fighting it with it. You just allow that everything to be there. Because that is why we have this life. We cannot deny it. We cannot argue with it. So we have to accept and just let it be there. Using that all, and you go into something more higher than, rather than depending on you. You have a choice. You can depend on your intellectual mind. You can depend on your self-centered life. You can depend on karma. It is your choice. But at the same time, as a human being, you have a more higher choice. That is, use your awareness. Be with your awareness. Tune to the awareness. Sharpening the recognition. And develop the recognition. For that, you no need your intellectual mind. You no need your self-centered life. You no need your karmic path. So, then you come to a point to select yourself what you want. And that should be very clear choice by yourself. Not because of the fear, not because of the tradition, not because of the monks say that, not because of the book says that, not because of somebody else say that, not because of you have certain situation and you have to get out of it. Not like that. Only with the reason, knowingly, as a human being, you have power, you have opportunity to experience the ultimate truth or the nature, the happening here right now with you. So if you come to, without any condition, to tune to that moment, that is where you can find your liberation, your transformation, and you can name it as your ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Why? Because in that very moment, no your intellectual mind, there is no your self-centered life, there is no your karma. But still, your recognition will happen. So give a try and see what is that experience. Because as a human being, you are the only can experience that. No any other animals, no any other, most of living beings. Maybe somewhere, but most of living beings have no opportunity. They all go with patterns. But you are the only one have that opportunity. And even when it comes to our life, and who knows, we will have opportunity by tomorrow. Maybe we don't know. So then give your best for this moment and try to find your inner bliss that all it is already there, but it covered. You are the one who, because you didn't know that, you are the one who covered it. And this is the moment to discover that your inner truth. So let's get into practice a little bit. And your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring attention to your body, please. And scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say Sopateva, or may I be well and happy. 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment, with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment. This is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. Do nothing extra. Just recognize it. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. Little by little, expand the capacity. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance, or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Also may all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effect. Ittavata cha ammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi dhammang pujemi sanghang pujemi attaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadhi maranam ha paribunjissami idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.